The massive hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with excitement as creatures from across the galaxy gathered for what they thought would be the final act of humanity's short-lived rebellion. Ambassador Velnari, a tall insect-like being with 4 arms and golden eyes, stood at the center podium. His voice carried clearly through the translation devices worn by every delegate. "Fellow council members," Velnari announced, his mandibles clicking with what passed for amusement among his species. "The humans have finally responded to our generous offer of protection." He paused for effect, watching as hundreds of alien faces turned toward him with curiosity. "They have sent exactly 1 ship." The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. The chamber filled with sounds that would have been impossible to describe to human ears. Chirping, growling, hissing, and mechanical buzzing that somehow all expressed the same emotion. Pure, uncontrolled laughter. A massive, bear-like creature from the Ursid Empire slapped the floor with his huge paw, while snake-like delegates from the Serpentine worlds coiled and uncoiled in what was their version of holding their sides from laughing too hard. Commander Jisoo Park had delivered Earth's message to this very chamber just 3 cycles ago. She had stood where Velnari now stood, her small human form dwarfed by the towering alien delegates around her. Her words had been simple and direct. "Humanity thanks the Galactic Council for their offer of protection, but we must respectfully decline. We choose to remain independent and will defend that choice if necessary." The aliens had given humanity exactly what they asked for, a chance to defend themselves. What they hadn't expected was for the defense to consist of a single vessel approaching their combined armada of 60,000 warships. At the edge of Earth's solar system, the greatest military force the galaxy had ever assembled waited in. Perfect formation. Ships of every size and design floated in organized rows that stretched for millions of kilometers. The Draconian Empire had contributed their feared battle cruisers, each one capable of destroying a small moon. The Hegemony brought their sleek destroyers with plasma cannons that could melt through any known armor. The Crystalline Collective had sent their geometric vessels that could phase in and out of normal space. Admiral Korvash, a reptilian commander, whose scales had turned silver with age and countless battles, stood on the bridge of his flagship. His yellow eyes studied the tactical display showing the approaching human vessel. Around him, his younger officers struggled to contain their amusement. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Zefak, his voice trembling with suppressed laughter, "the human ship is maintaining steady approach speed. It's actually quite large, Admiral. Nearly 50 kilometers from nose to tail." Korvash nodded slowly. "Size means nothing without teeth, Lieutenant. What do our scans show for weapons systems?" The bridge fell silent as the scanning officer, a blue-skinned humanoid named Thurin, checked his instruments 3 times before answering. "Sir, I'm reading no energy weapons, no missile tubes, no particle beam emitters. According to every scanner we have, that ship is completely unarmed." This news spread quickly through the alien fleet. Communication channels that were supposed to be reserved for military coordination filled with jokes and speculation. Some commanders wondered if the humans were planning to ram their single ship into the alien formation. A desperate suicide attack that would accomplish nothing except making a very small dent in their overwhelming numbers. Others suggested that maybe the ship was packed with explosives, though even the largest bomb wouldn't do more than damage a few ships out of their massive fleet. The most popular theory was that the humans had finally come to their senses and were arriving to surrender properly, bringing their political leaders to negotiate terms of their planet's absorption into the galactic community. From the bridge of the human vessel Terra's Voice, Captain Min-Soo Kim watched the alien fleet grow larger on his main screen. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. Unlike the chattering excitement of the alien ships, the human vessel was filled with calm, focused energy. "Open a channel to all alien vessels," Kim ordered his communications officer. "Channel open, Captain." Kim's voice carried across space, to every one of the 60,000 alien ships waiting for him. His tone was polite, almost conversational. "This is Captain Min-Soo Kim of the Earth vessel Terra's Voice. We come to negotiate a peaceful resolution to this situation." The response? There was immediate laughter, echoing back through the communication systems. On dozens of alien bridges, commanders shared the joke with their crews. The humans wanted to negotiate one ship against 60,000. It was like a single ant trying to bargain with an entire colony of predators. What none of them realized was that Captain Kim wasn't making a desperate plea. He was delivering a warning. As Terra's voice drew closer to the alien blockade, even the most arrogant commanders began to feel a strange unease creeping into their thoughts. The human ship was enormous, far larger than anything they had expected Earth's primitive civilization to produce. 50 kilometers of dark metal stretched across the void, its surface a patchwork of different materials that looked like it had been assembled in desperation. Captain Hee-Jin Lee stood on the bridge of Terra's voice, her calm eyes fixed on the wall of alien ships ahead. Behind her, the crew moved with quiet efficiency, each person focused on their task. The bridge was simple compared to the gleaming command centers of alien vessels, just functional panels and screens that showed exactly what they needed to know. Distance to alien perimeter, Lee asked her navigator. 2 million kilometers and closing, Captain, came the steady reply. Lee nodded and turned to her communications officer. Open a channel to all alien vessels. Full broadcast. The officer's fingers danced over his console. Channel open, Captain. All 60,000 ships are receiving. Lee's voice carried across the void with crystal clarity, reaching every bridge in the massive alien fleet. Her tone was neither threatening nor pleading. It was the voice of someone stating a simple fact. Attention all vessels. This is Captain Hee-Jin Lee of the Earthship Terra's voice. This is our response to your demands. We strongly suggest you reconsider your position and withdraw from this system. The reaction was immediate and predictable. Laughter erupted across communication channels as alien commanders shared the joke with their crews. A human captain, just one human, was suggesting that 60,000 warships should retreat. Some aliens laughed so hard they had to pause their duties to recover. Admiral Korvash felt his scaled lips curl into what his species considered a smile. The humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Either way, it was time to end this charade and begin the process of bringing Earth into the galactic fold. He turned to his weapons officer, a young draconian whose eagerness for battle was written across his reptilian features. Target their engine section, Korvash ordered. Surgical strike only. We want them disabled, not destroyed. I'm curious to see what passes for human engineering. Yes, Admiral, the weapons officer replied, his clawed hands moving across his targeting console. Destroyer Squadron 7, you are cleared for precision strike. Disable their propulsion systems only. 6 sleek alien destroyers peeled away from the main formation, their hulls gleaming like polished metal as they moved into position. Each ship was a masterpiece of military engineering, equipped with plasma cannons capable of melting through the strongest known alloys. Their computers calculated the exact power needed to cripple the human vessel without completely destroying. Firing solution locked, reported the lead destroyer captain. Targeting rear engine compartments, firing in 3, 2, 1, firing. Brilliant blue-white beams of superheated plasma erupted from the alien weapons, crossing the void in seconds. The shots were perfectly aimed, designed to slice through the Terra's voice's engine section and leave the ship drifting helplessly in space. Every alien commander watched their tactical displays, waiting to see the human vessel lose power and begin to tumble. The plasma beams struck Terra's voice dead center, exactly where they were supposed to. For a moment, the alien fleet held its collective breath, waiting for the inevitable result of their overwhelming technological superiority. Instead, something impossible happened. Terra's voice continued moving forward at exactly the same speed, showing no signs of damage or power loss. The massive human ship didn't even slow down. It was as if the plasma beams had simply disappeared. On the bridge of Admiral Korvash's flagship, Chief Scanner Operator Tae-hyun Choi stared at his instruments in confusion. He ran the scans again, then a third time, unable to believe what he was seeing. His voice was uncertain when he finally spoke. Admiral, I'm reading some very strange energy signatures from the human vessel. Korvash turned toward the scanner station, his yellow eyes narrowing. Explain. Tae-hyun's hands trembled slightly as he worked his controls. Sir, the plasma beams definitely hit their target, but instead of causing damage, the human hull appears. To be absorbing the energy, converting it into something else. That's impossible, Corvash growled. No known material can simply absorb plasma fire of that intensity. I know, sir, but the readings don't lie. Look at this. Taehyun transferred his scanner data to the main display screen. The impact points are actually glowing brighter now than before we fired. It's like their hull is storing our weapons' energy. Cold silence fell over the bridge as the implications began to sink in. Around the fleet, other scanner operators were reporting similar impossible readings. The human ship wasn't just surviving their attack, it was somehow feeding on it. Captain Lee's voice came across the communication channels again, still calm and polite. We appreciate your demonstration of alien weapons technology. However, we must insist that you reconsider your position. This is your final warning. This time, nobody laughed. Deep in the heart of Terra's voice, 30 levels below the main bridge, Chief Engineer Sunghwan Nam stood in a chamber that no alien eye had ever seen. The room hummed with quiet energy, filled with equipment that looked nothing like traditional human technology. Arrays of crystalline structures lined the walls, each one pulsing with a soft blue light that grew brighter with every alien weapon strike against their hull. Nam had worked on this project for 15 years, ever since humanity first detected the approaching alien fleets. While diplomats tried to negotiate and politicians debated surrender, a small team of Earth's greatest minds had been developing something revolutionary. They called it metamaterial conversion technology, a way to turn any incoming energy into useful power for their own systems. Energy absorption at 92% efficiency, reported his assistant, watching streams of data flow across multiple screens. The plasma strikes are feeding directly into our primary systems. Nam nodded with quiet satisfaction. The alien weapons were actually making Terra's voice stronger with every shot. Each plasma beam that struck their hull was captured by millions of tiny conversion cells built into the ship's outer layer. These cells worked at the quantum level, breaking down the incoming energy and redirecting it to power Terra's voice's most important systems. Meanwhile, on the bridge of Admiral Corvash's flagship, panic was starting to replace confidence. The scanner readings made no sense according to everything they knew about physics and warfare. The human ship was not only surviving their attacks, it was somehow growing more powerful. Increase firepower, Corvash ordered, his voice tight with frustration. All destroyer squadrons concentrate fire on that vessel. I want continuous bombardment until their hull gives way. The alien fleet responded immediately. What had started as a surgical strike became an overwhelming assault. Hundreds of ships opened fire simultaneously, filling the space around Terra's voice with deadly energy. Plasma cannons sent streams of superheated gas. Particle accelerators launched beams of pure destruction. Quantum torpedoes exploded in brilliant flashes that should have torn apart any known material. The bombardment was so intense that it lit up the entire region of space like a miniature star. Any normal ship would have been vaporized in seconds. Any known material would have melted under such concentrated firepower. The aliens were using enough energy to destroy a small planet, but Terra's voice continued moving forward, completely unharmed. Deep in the engineering section, Engineering Officer Gayung Yoon watched her displays with growing excitement. Every alien weapon that struck their hull was feeding more power into their systems. The conversion arrays were working beyond their wildest expectations. Chief Num, she called out over the hum of machinery. Conversion efficiency is now at maximum levels. All primary systems are fully charged and ready for activation. Nam smiled, the first real smile he had allowed himself in years. How long? Can we maintain this level of energy storage? At current absorption rates indefinitely, Yoon replied. The aliens are literally powering our entire ship with their attacks. We have more energy available now than our entire planet uses in a year. Nam activated his communication link to the bridge. Captain Lee, this is engineering. All systems are green. We're ready to show them what Terra's voice was really built to do. On the bridge, Captain Lee received the message with calm satisfaction. Around her, the bridge crew worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. Outside the viewports, the space around their ship blazed with alien weapons fire, but inside Terra's voice, everything was peaceful and controlled. The alien bombardment continued for what felt like hours, but was actually only minutes. Every weapon in the vast fleet focused on the single human vessel, pouring enough destructive energy into the attack to sterilize an entire world. The aliens were using weapons that had conquered dozens of civilizations, technology that had never failed to destroy its targets. Yet Terra's voice moved through the storm of fire like it was flying through empty space. Then something began to change. The human ship started to glow from within, as if someone had lit a gentle fire inside its hull. The glow grew brighter and brighter, until Terra's voice looked like a star that had somehow taken the shape of a spacecraft. Captain Lee opened communication, channels to every alien vessel in the fleet. Her voice was still calm, but now there was something else in it. Quiet confidence and perhaps a hint of warning. "Attention, all alien commanders," she said. "You wanted to see human innovation in action. You demanded a demonstration of our capabilities. Very well. Observe what happens when Earth builds one ship specifically designed to end a war." The glowing light from Terra's voice grew brighter still, and across 60,000 alien ships, scanner operators began reporting readings that their instruments couldn't properly measure. Whatever the humans were about to do, it was beyond anything in their experience. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes sending just one ship is exactly enough. Terra's voice suddenly stopped moving. After hours of steady approach toward the alien blockade, the massive human vessel came to a complete halt right in the middle of the enemy formation. 60,000 alien warships surrounded it from every direction, yet the human ship sat motionless, like it owned the entire region of space. The vessel now blazed with internal light so bright that it hurt to look at directly. What had started as a gentle glow had become something that resembled a small star floating in the darkness. The hull pulsed with stored energy from thousands of alien weapon strikes, each pulse growing stronger and more rhythmic. On Terra's Voices bridge, weapons specialist Dongyuk Shin sat at a console that looked nothing like traditional human technology. His station was covered with controls that seemed to blend science and engineering in ways that would have puzzled even Earth's greatest minds just a few years earlier. Shin had spent the last 3 years learning to operate systems that pushed the boundaries of what humans thought was possible. "Captain," Shin reported, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt, "all energy stores are at maximum capacity. Discharge systems are ready for activation. We have enough power to do exactly what we planned." Captain Lee stood in the center of the bridge, watching the tactical display that showed their ship surrounded by the largest military force in galactic history. She felt no fear, only a quiet determination to show the galaxy that humanity deserved. "Respect, not domination. Open channels to all alien vessels," she ordered. Communications came alive across every ship in the enemy fleet. Lee's voice reached every alien commander, every crew member, every being who had come to force Earth into submission. Her tone remained calm and conversational, as if she were discussing the weather rather than addressing 60,000 warships. "Attention all vessels. Every weapon you have fired at us over the past several hours has been captured and stored by our ship's energy conversion systems. We want to thank you for providing us with the power we need for our demonstration. We will now show you what humans call directed stellar engineering." The alien commanders had no idea what those words meant, but something in Captain Lee's tone made their blood run cold. Across the fleet, scanner operators watched their instruments with growing alarm as Terra's voice began to emit energy readings that broke their measuring devices. Deep within the human ship, stellar engineer Suyung Kang worked at a station that represented humanity's greatest scientific achievement. For decades, human scientists had studied stars from a distance, learning their patterns and understanding their behavior. Kang had spent 15 years developing the mathematics needed to influence stellar activity with precise energy applications. "Captain," Kang reported through the ship's internal communication system, "I have a perfect targeting solution on our sun. The star is old enough and unstable enough to respond exactly as our models predict. One concentrated pulse should trigger the controlled flare sequence we designed." "Proceed with the demonstration," Lee ordered. Shin's hands moved across his, console with practiced precision. The energy that Terra's voice had absorbed from thousands of alien weapons, enough power to destroy multiple planets, began flowing through focusing systems that concentrated it into a single, incredibly precise beam. Terra's voice released its stored energy in one devastating pulse. The beam shot across the solar system faster than light, striking the sun with surgical accuracy. To alien observers, it looked like the human ship had just fired a weapon at their own star, an act of such desperation or madness that it defied understanding. But Kang had calculated everything perfectly. The energy beam hit the sun at exactly the right frequency and intensity to trigger controlled instabilities in the star's outer layers. What happened next was not destruction, but manipulation on a scale that no civilization had ever achieved. The sun responded to the human intervention by producing massive solar flares, but these were not random bursts of stellar energy. They followed precise patterns, creating beams of radiation that swept through space in calculated directions. It was like watching someone turn a star into a massive lighthouse, sending signals across the galaxy. Communications Officer Ji-hoon Bae monitored long-range sensors that could detect similar events around distant stars. His voice was filled with quiet amazement as he reported to the bridge. "Captain, we're receiving confirmation signals from our deep space monitoring stations. Similar stellar events are beginning around the home systems of every major alien power. The Draconian Empire's star, the Hegemony's binary system, the Crystalline Collective's red giant, all showing controlled flare activity. The implications hit the alien commanders like a physical blow. Humanity had not sent one ship to fight 60,000. They had sent a demonstration model for technology that could influence stars across the entire galaxy. While the aliens had been laughing at Earth's single vessel, humans had been positioning stellar manipulation devices around every inhabited system in known space. Captain Lee's voice reached every alien ship one final time. "We hope this demonstration makes our position clear. Humanity chooses independence, and we now have the ability to defend that choice on a galactic scale. The greatest military fleet in galactic history found itself completely helpless against a species that had made the stars themselves into weapons. The transformation of galactic politics began within hours of Terra's voice completing its demonstration." As the human ship sat motionless in the center of the alien formation, still glowing with residual energy, emergency communications flooded every corner of known space. Across thousands of light years, alien homeworlds were experiencing something that had never happened in their recorded history. Their own stars were acting in ways that seemed impossible. On Earth, Director Jung-Hwa Han stood in the command center of the Human Space Initiative, watching data streams from monitoring stations positioned throughout the galaxy. Han had been the architect of humanity's most ambitious project, a plan so bold that even Earth's greatest leaders had initially called it impossible. While the alien fleets had been gathering for their blockade, humanity had been secretly deploying technology that would change the rules of interstellar conflict forever. "Status report from all monitoring stations," Han requested from her operations team. "All stellar manipulation devices are functioning perfectly," replied her chief technician. "We now have active control systems around 47 major star systems, including every alien homeworld and military stronghold. The devices are drawing power from the stars themselves and can trigger controlled flare activity on command." Han nodded with satisfaction. The plan had taken 20 years to develop and 3 years to implement. Humanity had learned early in their space exploration that they could never match the vast military forces of established galactic powers. Instead of trying to build more ships or better weapons, they had chosen to think completely differently about warfare itself. While alien civilizations had spent millennia perfecting ways to destroy each other's fleets, humans had developed ways to influence the very stars that those civilizations depended on for life. It was the ultimate expression of human ingenuity. Instead of fighting the galaxy's armies, they had made the galaxy's stars their allies. The alien response was swift and panicked. Emergency sessions were called in every major government across known space. Military commanders who had spent their entire careers studying fleet tactics and weapons technology suddenly found themselves facing an enemy that could manipulate the fundamental forces of nature itself. Admiral Korvash, still commanding the massive fleet surrounding Terra's Voice, received urgent communications from his homeworld. The Draconian Empire's capital planet was experiencing unusual solar activity that their scientists couldn't explain. Their star was producing energy patterns that seemed almost like a form of communication, as if the star itself was trying to send a message. "Admiral," his communications officer reported with barely concealed fear in his voice, "we're receiving similar reports from every world in our empire. All of our stars are showing coordinated activity. It's like someone is controlling them from a distance." Meanwhile, Terra's Voice began its journey back toward Earth. Admiral Wunshik Lim had taken command of the vessel for its return trip, allowing Captain Lee to rest after successfully completing the most important mission in human history. Lim stood on the bridge, watching the alien fleet slowly part to allow their passage. "No hostile movements from any alien vessels," reported his tactical officer. "They're maintaining distance but making no aggressive actions." "Can you blame them?" Lim replied quietly. "They just watched us turn their own stars into potential weapons. I imagine they're reconsidering their entire approach to dealing with humanity." Back on Earth, the formal diplomatic response was already being prepared. Humanity's demands were surprisingly simple and reasonable. They wanted recognition as an independent species with the right to govern themselves. They wanted all hostile military actions against Earth to cease immediately. Most importantly, they wanted future relationships with alien civilizations to be based on mutual respect rather than the threat of conquest. The Galactic Council convened in emergency session. Within days of the demonstration, the same chamber that had erupted in laughter when they learned of humanity's single-ship response was now filled with tense, worried discussions about how to deal with a species that had seemingly mastered stellar engineering. Ambassador Yunji, you arrived at the council chambers as Earth's representative, carrying with her the authority to speak for all of humanity. Unlike the previous human ambassador, who'd been ignored and dismissed, Yu was greeted with careful respect by every alien delegate she encountered. When she took the central podium, where Ambassador Velnari had announced humanity's laughable response just days earlier, the chamber fell into complete silence. Every being present understood that they were witnessing a historic moment, the first time in galactic history that a primitive species had forced the established powers to completely reconsider their approach to interstellar relations. "Honored delegates," Yu began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. "Humanity comes before this council not as supplicants seeking protection, but as equals seeking partnership. We have demonstrated that Earth possesses technology capable of influencing stellar activity across the galaxy. We did not develop this capability to threaten or conquer, but to ensure our right to independence." She paused, allowing her words to sink in before continuing. "We have made the stars themselves our allies. The traditional rules of space warfare, vast fleets, powerful weapons, overwhelming numbers, are no longer the ultimate arbiters of galactic politics. Humanity offers a new model, cooperation based on mutual benefit, rather than domination based on superior force." The silence in the chamber was profound. Across the galaxy, alien commanders looked up at their own stars with new understanding. Those distant suns that had provided light and life for millions of years could now flicker with patterns controlled by human technology. The beings who had laughed at Earth's single ship now realized that humanity had sent exactly what they needed. Not a weapon of war, but a demonstration of a completely new kind of power. The age of galactic empires built on military conquest was ending. The age of stellar diplomacy had begun.